Here we go, guys. Welcome again to the Anglo-Italian pod. And firstly, I just want to apologise. I think that maybe recording immediately before Manchester United take on Arsenal might be a bad idea. So I apologise for any preoccupation you may notice in my delivery this week. But I promise to give 100%, and hopefully the Gunners will do the same and win back-to-back at Old Trafford for the first time since the 70s. So come on, Arsenal. And of course, it is time to welcome my good friend and co-host, Tommy. How are we doing, mate?
I'm doing great. I just love this beginning. So the people who will be listening on release day, so on Friday, will either think you're the coolest dude or an absolute fool, because they will know the result of Manchester United Arsenal.
I fear they may already have their opinion on that, but maybe let's see.
I have the same feeling. I'm doing good. It was yet another nice day in Milan. Midweek action. There are ongoing games as we're recording it. There is halftime between Torino and Empoli. Torino are currently winning 2-1 despite having picked up a red card because of a Wilfred Singo tackle. I'm assuming. I was not watching the game since I'm online recording the episode, but I'm excited to be here. And ladies and gentlemen, besides our Euro review in which we will review and preview this week's games, there is also a brand new quiz for all of you to enjoy, and we need your feedback. So please make sure to let us know what you think about the episode and about the quiz in particular at Italian Anglopod on Twitter and that Anglo-Italian pod on Instagram. Also, it's the holiday season. Make sure you follow our beautiful sponsor at the Sports Club Maps. Make sure you get a mug, a map, a mousepad. Do people still use those? I'm assuming they do. A t-shirt or whatever you can find at www.sportsclubmaps.co.uk. Rory, shall we start the Euro review by getting onto our blimp and traveling all the way to England?
Let's do it. And here we are back in Blighty in merry old England, and it is time to talk about some midweek Premier League action. And it was all quite nervous at the top, apart from for one team. You can probably guess who that was. But they all ultimately won out in the end. And we're going to start at Goodison Park, because I feel like this is undoubtedly the kind of talking point of the week at the moment. Not just that Liverpool scored 4 goals yet again. I think in their third consecutive game now, they've scored 4 goals. The fact that it is in direct comparison with just the absolute horror show that is going on at Everton. So first we'll talk about the game. Now, within the game, Liverpool won 4-1. They went 2-1 up. Of course, Mohamed Salah scored. Henderson getting a beautiful goal before Gray managed to pull one back for Everton, giving them a bit of hope. And then in the second half, Liverpool just kind of pulled away and Everton disappeared. But within this game, I think Liverpool were 2-0 up within 20 minutes. Everton fans started to leave the stadium at that point. They also unfurled a banner. So the Everton saying is, now I need to get this right because it's in Latin, we demand nil satis nisi optimum, which is the club motto. It's about time our club did too. So the fans are incredibly angry about the situation that's going on there. So to talk about the situation a little bit, they have spent, right, £500 million, right? Since 2016-17, they are 9th in the world in spending on transfers, above Liverpool, Spurs, Bayern Munich, and Juventus.
Damn.
Right? And all of this for them to currently be lying in 14th place, only 5 points above the relegation zone, no wins in 8, and all this with a manager who they have hated from the day that his name was linked to the job. So it all goes to this guy Moshiri, who's an Iranian billionaire who bought the controlling stake in the club, where he now owns 49.9% of the club. And he's come in on the premise of, unlike other owners in the Premier League, he is going to be, I don't want to make a profit. I want to win things, right? He promised Champions League football. He promised them all sorts of things. He's managed to secure them a new stadium and plans for the new stadium. So finally, after a long time, they're going to have a new home, which looks great, but there's not much point in having a new stadium if you're going to be in the Championship, right? And the kind of funny thing about this is that 2 years before he arrived, they finished fifth on 76 points, I want to say, which is enough to qualify for the Champions League in most years. Since they've not even got close, they've only qualified to the Europa League once, and they finished as low as 12th. Now, I kind of looked into their transfer history, and a lot of their transfers are just a bit baffling. Now, this is a club that earned a lot of money from Lukaku, right? 76 million. But then they go and spend money on like 30 million or going to 40 million on Iwobi. They spend 26, 27 million on Kane before he's shipped off back to Juventus. There's a lot of players who like Gabamin, I want to say, he's brought in for a bit of money, never plays. And there's just a kind of history of these transfers that are just failed. Now, amongst that, there are transfers that have worked, right? The Calvert-Lewin transfer definitely worked. Lucas Digne, great signing. Yerry Mina, Abdoulaye Doucouré. They've got some decent players there, but they're just not improving, and the teams around them are. And I think the fans are just really finally getting sick of this kind of stagnation, and they're kind of worried about how the club is being run. I think it's completely reasonable when you see, like, honestly, when I saw that they were 9th in the world on transfer spending, and they're one of the least effective teams in the league this year, it's honestly mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with you. But what do you think is next for Everton? So if you were in the Everton board, what would be the next step? Is it about time to sack a manager that probably hasn't really left an impact on the team? Is it time to maybe appoint a caretaker until the end of the season? And what should be the realistic expectations and goals for the Toffees for the rest of the season?
I think sacking Benitez doesn't solve the problem. Like, Benitez has only been there in the job for a couple of months. He's not had a chance to kind of implement his system. He hasn't been able to buy players because over the summer, the only player he bought was from Leicester, was Gray from Leicester for 1.5 million, I think, because of financial fair play regulations, because they'd spent so much money under Ancelotti and the managers before that. So even like within all this, as much as the fans might blame Benitez, he's kind of hamstrung himself because they can't move financially in the market, and he's not been able to, like, most of their transfers were like Andros Townsend on a free, like it was free transfers they were picking up. So it's like, I don't even think he's the major problem. I think he's going to be the lightning rod because of his history with Liverpool and because the results aren't on the pitch. And he is probably going to be the one that loses his job sooner rather than later. But I don't think that solves the problem. Well, the problem is that at the moment, their director of football, Marcel Brands, now he'd previously been at AZ Alkmaar and PSV, brought through players like Wijnaldum, Lozano, like quite a few decent players. So he got this good reputation, but he's just not been as effective in the transfer market, and especially when it comes to young players. And also the fans are kind of unsure as to just how much power he actually has at the club and how much say he has, and who's making the decisions and whether Moshiri himself is getting involved. So it's all a bit of a mess at the moment for the Toffees. If any of our listeners are Everton fans or know any Everton fans who would like to sit and talk about this, I'd genuinely be interested to get some insight from inside Goodison, because it seems like Everton are just this club that have always this huge well of untapped potential, and at the moment it's just being absolutely wasted. And that in contrast with their neighbours, Liverpool, who are the most terrifying team in the league. And this was the first time they won at Goodison Park for a good few years. There's been a lot of draws, and Everton have always been competitive, but this time the gap is too big.
By the way, to correct you, they have scored 4 goals in 3 out of their latest 4 games. So it was 4-0 against a certain Arsenal from North London, then 2-0 against Porto, 4-0 against Southampton, and 1-4 against Everton. But so yes, a third consecutive Premier League game with 4 goals. So, yeah, scoring 12 goals in 3 games is pretty tight. If your team does that and allows only 1 in the back of their net, I think they're doing good. It's usually a good sign.
They are doing all right. But we need to talk about Liverpool for a bit and give them a bit of credit. So Diogo Jota scored a beautiful goal at the end. Last season, he got 12 goals and 1 assist. This season, he already has 9 goals and 3 assists. So he is absolutely killing it for Liverpool this year. That front three really are clicking. And Salah, of course, scored 2 goals. He's been directly involved in at least 1 goal in all of his last 12 Premier League appearances. That is 13 goals and 7 assists. He's only the 3rd player to do this since Stan Collymore in 1995. And, of course, Jamie Vardy in 2015. So Salah, obviously, with form like that, it's amazing that he wasn't ranked higher in the FIFA rankings. I think they put him at like 6th or 8th. He was crazy low down there. But yeah, Salah obviously absolutely killing it. Liverpool flying, and they rubbed salt into the wound by singing Rafa's at the wheel at the Everton fans towards the end of the game as Goodison Park was emptying. So a very good night for one half of Liverpool, but all a bit of a mess for the other side.
Nice. So this was the first game, the first headline in the midweek fixtures. Did you get to watch any other games in the Premier League?
I did. I watched a few of the games that were around the top of the table. So it was all looking a bit worrying for Chelsea. They were playing Watford and they had a really slow start to the game. Edouard Mendy made 2 massive saves to keep them in the game. Unfortunately, the game was delayed for half an hour as a fan had a cardiac arrest. Thankfully, they managed to stabilize him. They got the game back underway, and Chelsea managed to take the lead through Havertz. Then a player that I've been desperate to talk about for a while now, because he really has been impressing me, Emmanuel Dennis. Now, he scored the equalizer for Watford, and he scored against Manchester United as well. I believe he got an assist. He got his numbers this year, much like Maxwell Cornet at Burnley. I think he's a signing that's kind of going under the radar because he's at a kind of, in quotes, unfashionable club. But he scored a beautiful goal, really nice kind of chipped far post finish to level the game. And then Chelsea, it was all looking like, with Liverpool winning at the time, it looked like Chelsea were going to drop down to 3rd place. But in the 79th minute, Hakim Ziyech managed to get the winner. And Thomas Tuchel, after the game, said, we were very lucky to get out of there with a win. I've just realized it was Mason Mount who scored, not Havertz. Havertz got the assist. I apologize. But yeah, Tuchel said they were very lucky to get out of there with a win. But it feels like one of those wins that if you're going to win the league, it's one of those, you need those wins if you're going to win the league. You need to win when you're playing badly. And Chelsea have done it. That does mean that they stay top. Elsewhere in the title race, Manchester City managed to beat Aston Villa 2-1 at Villa Park. Jack Grealish returning to Villa Park to an echo of boos and the crowd singing Aston Villa till we die. It's kind of cool. Now, I'm probably going to upset Aston Villa fans. And even when we interviewed AV Billy in the first episode of the season, I was kind of confused a little bit as to just why the fans were so angry with him. Like, I get that he left for Man City and he said he was like a Villa fan. That would annoy you, but like Twitter explodes whenever Jack Grealish is mentioned. Like, it is intense, the hatred there. And I find it a little bit confusing because he did, like, we've seen since he left how they've struggled. And I think like he did a good job for them. I'm fully expecting the wrath of Villa fans now. But for Man City, 2 unbelievable goals. Ruben Diaz from outside the area, absolutely pinging one in to open the goal scoring. And then, undoubtedly, goal of the night, I think, across all the games, was Bernardo Silva's left-footed, kind of side-footed volley. The ball across was absolutely beautiful. And Silva, it's really weird. He was a player that in the summer, he was being linked with a move away, right?
I was going to say, he requested a transfer, from what I seem to remember, because he was starting to fear that there would be no more space for him at midfield. What do you think went down there? A little talk with good old Pep?
Well, I have no idea, because apparently he was offered to Arsenal, and there was Arsenal fans who turned around and said, no, we don't want him. Fucking idiots. Yeah, honestly. And this guy, I'm not sure, but he is, maybe it was just like a wake-up call. It scared him, and he was like, okay, I need to, if I'm going to stay here, I need to prove that I'm worth it. So last season, I was looking at his stats. Last season, he got 5 goals and 9 assists. This season already, he has 5 goals and 2 assists. So he's well on his way to breaking those numbers. And it's just his all-round play this year has been absolutely unbelievable. We know what kind of player he is, and I think he is weirdly underrated. I think people don't actually realize how good the guy is.
Even if his numbers were not like otherworldly last year, I still think he's a class player to have at all times. He's one of the best midfielders of his generation, in my opinion. No doubt about it. I say so despite not having watched that much of Manchester City over the past 2 seasons. I've watched a fair few games, more or less, but it just feels like a player that whenever it comes on, he's got the technical skills. He's very smart on the pitch. He's very good and technical. So how could it hurt? I don't really get it.
No, exactly. And I think he's just really proven to everyone how good he is. And with Portugal, he's been so key to their team as well. That he's really stood out in that. We've talked about it a lot, how star-studded that team is and how many big names there are, and he stands out in it. And I think he's just the volley. If you haven't seen it, you have to check it out. It was unbelievable. Ollie Watkins managed to get one just at the beginning of the second half to bring Aston Villa back into it, but ultimately City kind of saw it out relatively comfortably, although Ederson made an incredible save from Chukwuemeka, the player that I highlighted at the beginning of the season in our players to look out for. Ederson made an incredible save from him at the end to deny them. So it wasn't quite as simple, but City managed to get there in the end. So that means that the table kind of stays as it was, really. Chelsea top on 33 points, Man City second on 32, Liverpool third on 31. That gap is really starting to open up now. West Ham in fourth on 24. So they're already 7 points ahead, that kind of pack of 3. I think that's definitely going to be the title race, right? But all in all, I think Chelsea are the winners of the night. I think Chelsea are the overall winners because at one point they were third and looking at kind of losing ground. So, yeah, at the top of the table, all good. At the bottom, now I've made my prediction. I'm going to stick by it. I'm going to stick by it again. I said that if Newcastle did not beat Norwich at home, they're going to get relegated. Well, guess what, Tommy? They didn't beat Norwich at home. Now, if you don't beat Norwich at home, I don't know what games you are going to win.
Is that the benchmark of this season?
I don't know what games you win if you can't beat Norwich at home. Now, obviously, it wasn't helped by the fact that Kieran Clark, Irish defender, decided within 10 minutes to get himself sent off for pulling someone back. They were through on goal, clear red card. Obviously makes the job much harder. But then Norwich gave them a helping hand, literally, and gifted them a penalty. The penalty was put away. Newcastle go 1-0 up. And then right at the end, Dubravka makes a bit of a horror, drops the ball. It falls in the area, and Pukki manages to smash it in for an equaliser. It's kind of no good for any of them. I think it's neither team needed a draw. Both of them needed to win. I think for Newcastle, it's just another, my overriding feeling was if you can't beat Norwich at home, what game are you expecting to win? Because that should be a 3-pointer. It has to be. And for Newcastle, again, I kind of talked about it. I was on the Hopeless Wanderer pod last night, guys, and I kind of talked about it with Adam, and we kind of said, people keep saying, oh, but they've got money in January. In January, they'll buy players.
Who wants to go there when you're bottom of the table with 0 wins?
With no wins.
Than Salernitana.
Exactly. And any player you do get is either going to be a complete mercenary and only there for the money and will sod off the second you get relegated, or they're not good enough. They're the only players you're going to get. You could bring Messi into that team in January. They're not going to stay up. Sheffield United had more wins at this point in the season than Newcastle do now, and they were gone. So I think it really is, I'm sorry, Newcastle fans, to keep going on about it, but I just think it's incredibly, it's sad for the fans, but for the owners, I think it's hilarious. I think I'm sorry the fans are going through it, but for the owners and who they are, good, get relegated, and then be the richest club in the championship, fine. But I think ultimately it will be good for Newcastle to get relegated and kind of start again.
Yeah, and start fresh. That could be something that they need to start with a clean slate. Isn't that the expression?
Mm-hmm, exactly. I'm going to quickly take you through the other games.
Go for it. Because Brighton have got yet another draw. And guys, Brighton fans, it's still 1 point. You guys are undefeated. You guys are having a big run of grey results on my
There's a lot of grey marks, eh?
on my football app. Of course, the last win came from against the Swansea in the Carabao Cup on September 22nd, and before that against Leicester in the Premier League on September 19th. And since then, 3 draws, 1 loss. 3 draws, 1 loss, 2 draws. Well, guys, you know what to expect. Another draw and then a loss.
Yeah.
But hey, it's still 1 point. You're still Brighton and you're up there. I mean, I'm experiencing the same fortune in fantasy football. I've drawn a lot of games, but hey, still better than losing them, right?
It definitely is. And to be fair to the Brighton away fans, they were all singing Graham Potter's Blue and White Army at the end of the game. He went over and kind of clapped and fist pumped the fans. So it seems like they've all kissed and made up. But for West Ham and Brighton, what I was impressed with the most was the goalkeepers. Sanchez and Fabianski for both teams made some great saves. Souček getting the goal. And Mopé with an overhead kick, which was absolutely ridiculous.
At the death of time.
And of course, he did the ear celebration because I think he's actually the biggest shithouse in the Premier League at the minute. He loves winding people up. He absolutely loves it.
Nice. It's like a seagull just shitting on your head right away. Boom. Really embodying the club's spirit.
And the last 2 games I'm going to talk about, we have Leeds getting a massive win at home against Crystal Palace with a last-minute penalty. Mark Guehi giving away a handball. Again, kind of stupid. Kind of throws his arm at it. It's really, really stupid. Rafinha with a Jorginho-esque hop penalty wins it for Leeds at the death. And that is such a huge win for them because it's now they find themselves in 15th and now they're 5 points above the relegation zone. Gives them a bit of breathing room. They've now in their last 5 games got 2 wins, 2 draws and a loss. So they're definitely starting to turn things around. I've said the whole time Leeds will be fine. For Crystal Palace, it just feels like they've been quite bad at conceding goals late on. Against Brighton, they conceded a goal right at the end when they were 1-0 up. I feel like in a few games, they've kind of let in last-minute winners, last-minute equalisers, and this is just another one of them. Patrick Vieira looked really disappointed at the end. They've now not won in 3, 2 losses and a draw. Look, the Crystal Palace will be fine. They're on 16 points in 12th, but I just feel like another kind of Crystal Palace are close, but just not quite there yet. And just they'll have bumps in the roads. It will be an up and down season for them. And the last game we're going to talk about is Leicester 2, Southampton 2. Bednarek with his first goal this season. Shea Adams, who was born in Leicester, scores against Leicester. But at the end, James Maddison, with a beautiful dummy, sending a defender for a hot dog, gets a equaliser to make it 2-2. And again, for both teams, they're both a lot further down than you'd expect. Southampton in 16th and Leicester now up to 8th, but obviously they've played a game in hand over the few teams around them. But that was the midweek action. Not much changed. All things remain the same.
But maybe something will change because tonight, of course, it's a Thursday night. Rory mentioned it at the beginning of the pod, but we have Manchester United, Arsenal. And if Arsenal were to win this game, they would advance and overtake West Ham in 4th position, which would give them 5 points deficit only from 3rd place, Liverpool. Rory, what are your feelings going into this game? It's the make an absolute fool of yourself part of the podcast. Welcome, Mr. Rory Crisqualo from Crew Alexandra, Arsenal fan. He's talking to the people who already know the result. Just take us through the game. How was it, Rory?
For the listeners' benefit, I'm currently got my head in my hands, rubbing my forehead quite hard. I said it in last episode. This game, I really, really care about the United game. I really care about it. I fucking hate losing to them, especially when they're this bad. They've been so bad, and it would be very Arsenal to provide them their first win since Tottenham, right? I think it's all going to hinge on whether they show us respect or whether they treat us like Chelsea. And inversely, I think if they treat us like Chelsea, they'll win. If they show us respect and try and play us, they'll lose.
Right, Rory. I want to play. I want to play a little game with you. It's unprecedented. It's. I've just decided that we haven't talked about it together. But Rory, since the listeners will already know the result, I want you to imagine how the game will go and give a 1 minute max summary. Imagining that you've watched the game and you give a summary of
You're
how the
just
game
wanting
went.
me to jinx this, Tommy.
Come on,
You're just
go for
wanting
it.
me to jinx
I
it.
want you
I
to be
think
confident. We talked about it on Monday night. You need to learn confidence, and maybe, dude, this would be a great clip for our social media, right?
yeah, I
Come on.
think they come out and try and play against us. I think they're not going to do the low block Sam Allardyce football that they did against Chelsea. I think they're going to come out and try and play against us. I'm going to say, oh God, I'm so scared to say it. I'm going to say we keep a clean sheet. I'm going to say another 1-0 win. I'm going to say
Whoa.
1-0.
Right. I love it. I love it. I love it.
And I'm going to say who's going to score it. Aubameyang is finally going to get a goal.
Aubameyang, 1-0 Arsenal win and jump
Just
to
like
fourth
last year.
position.
Just like last year.
But Rory, before we move on to the Serie A, we've got Tottenham Bradford also tonight. Any predictions about this one?
Hopefully Brentford win. I couldn't give a shit. As long as Tottenham drop points, that's fine.
But before we jump to Serie A, Rory, we've got to talk about something because somebody who is, I don't know, somebody could say, wow, these guys have a football podcast, and they're not even addressing the most important individual award in the world of football. Now, I believe that we both share Cambiaso's view on the trophy. Did you read the Cambiaso quote this week?
I did. Do you want to remind the readers?
Yeah, the listeners, yeah, of course.
The listeners, what? Yeah? What
unless you're reading our podcast at the moment. But Cambiaso said, I stopped believing in the Ballon d'Or in 2010 when Milito didn't even make the short list of the 30 best players in the world. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. In that year, Milito wasn't even considered in the short list, and he had this, not single-handedly, but he had put a big mark on Inter winning their first Champions League after 45 years. He was everywhere in Europe. I don't remember his goal tally in Champions League that season, but a brace in the final kind of automatically makes you the 30 best player in the world worthy. I don't know. But hey, Lionel Messi wins the Ballon d'Or. And he's serenaded by his technical sponsor, Adidas. Well, that was pretty dope, with 8 golden goats under the Eiffel Tower, all like standing on 8 golden balls. Now, a friend of mine, Fabio, sent me a very, very funny message that I forwarded to Rory, and I thought it was hilarious. So my friend Fabio and I love writing shit to each other, just like funny stuff, at least things that we think they're funny. And he texted me this. It said, December 2022. Robert Lewandowski, besides having scored the usual 47 goals in a season, has found the time to solve the problem of hunger in the world, the problem of eco-sustainable energy, and there's also his signature on the new Pfizer vaccine, which allows people to be immune to all 347 variants of the COVID strain. For this reason, many people were surprised when Lionel Messi was awarded his 8th Ballon d'Or. So sorry, he's actually won his 7th, and this was imagining his one is 8th. Look, there is that frame of Lewandowski with a low smirk on his face, and he's just like, fuck you guys. You guys suck so hard. But hey, good news. Apparently, France Football have called up a meeting after 1 year to see if there is any possible way in the world to award the 2020 Ballon d'Or to Robert Lewandowski. Now, Rory, is there possibly a way? I know that they need to come up with a formula, come up with an equation to award this man what he fucking deserves. Wake the fuck up.
I'm not sure if they think they have to invent a time machine in order to do so. I don't know what they think is like. They're just, okay, we have to break the space-time continuum, and then we can give Lewandowski an award that is completely meaningless of all points anyway. Yeah, I don't know what they've got against Lewandowski, or maybe Polish people, or I don't know. There seems to be an agenda that they really don't want to give him it. They could have just combined it this year and gone, okay, because we couldn't do the 2020 ceremony this year, here's the trophy for last year. Good work, Robert. Okay, now for this year. Like, it really, yeah, it's not complicated, guys. It's not complicated. Instead, they just invented an award for him. The trophy was terrible. It looked like a big biscuit. And it just seemed like Lewandowski just looked really awkward with it. Like, oh, thanks, guys. Like, yeah, it was all a bit of a shambles, isn't it? I was just looking through the top 30. There's some really strange players in there. Gerard Moreno in at 26 blew my mind a little bit. Simon Kjær at 18, maybe that's a fair shout. The one that kind of confused me a bit was Benzema up at 4th when, and this is unlike me, but I'm going to give Harry Kane some props. Harry Kane has outscored him in the Euros, in the league, in Europe, and is rated all the way down in 21st. And you're like, I just would love to know what the 23rd even. I would love to know what the kind of system is, or is it just journalists that vote for it? I don't know. It seems a bit bizarre. And then last one I'm going to complain about is Donnarumma. Now, I feel like at the moment, Edouard Mendy's getting such a rough time. FIFA put up a picture of the 4 best keepers in the world. They were all in their national shirts, apart from Mendy. They just edited out his Senegal shirt and just put him in a generic football shirt. And now he's been ignored for the goalkeeper award, despite keeping more clean sheets than Donnarumma and winning the Champions League.
Yeah. I also think that Donnarumma thing was not really well thought, but it was the first year since it was the first time in 14 years that 2 Italian players featured in the shortlist of the 30 best players. 14 years ago, it was Pirlo in 5th and Totti in 10th, and this year it was Jorginho in 3rd and Donnarumma in 10th. Look, that's why we decided not to open with the news about the Ballon d'Or, because we think it's kind of bullshit. There are some players that have never won it and clearly deserved it. Rory,
Thierry Henry,
right. And also, I don't know, maybe Ibrahimovic. You would expect, I don't know, in 20 years, I think there will be the conversation like, wait,
he's never won the Champions League, so fuck him.
Yeah, we're like, Ibrahimovic just won the Ballon d'Or, right? No, he hasn't. Well, it's just like that. And Lewandowski, look, it's criminal. It's criminal.
But it all ultimately boils down to as well. It's a team sport.
Yeah.
It's a team sport. Individual awards in team sports seem a bit bizarre anyway. There's always going to be kind of interpretation for this. In tennis, it's easy. In golf, it's easy. They're the best. There's the number, right? In a team sport, it is much harder. But yeah, so I think it's always, it says on Football Manager with these things like, take this with a pinch of salt. And that's what I would recommend with this. Like, yeah, it's no science, is it?
In other news, and we're moving closer and closer to Italy this week, Ibrahimovic broke the internet with a lot of fucking super cocky quotes unquotes after he was interviewed by Corriere della Sera in Italy. I think this guy is a little mental. I'll just go through a few of them. So those Scudetti that were revoked from Juventus, we actually won them, and nobody can take them away from us. Except the judicial system, but whatever. When they tell me that in my life I've won 11 Scudetti, I correct them. It was actually 13. All right, Ibrahimovic, next time you have a conversation with a judge, let us know.
I bet he's fun at parties every time. Yeah. Oh, you're 11. 13, actually. Okay, sorry, mate. Yeah, sorry.
Talking about being a fun person, when I was at PSG, I said that France is a shit country. Well, I might agree there. Marine Le Pen, the far-right French politician, asked for my expulsion from the state. Along the street, instead, the French people looked at me and said, Ibra, you're right. Now, as much as I believe that this quote got more consensus that you would expect in France, I do not picture him walking around Paris and people being like, "Oh, are you the people who said that the person who said that my country is shit?" You are right, dude. You are right. I don't think it exactly went like
this. This quickly reminds me of a Brendan Rodgers quote where he said that when he managed in Scotland at Celtic, he said that he used to get Rangers fans coming up to him complimenting him on how nice the football was that he played. It's like, Okay, Brendan. Of course they did. Yes, mate. Yeah, of course the Rangers fans couldn't wait to compliment Celtic. Yeah.
I've got two more, and the guy is going to sound more and more fun to hang out with at a weekend. We had just lost against Arsenal. You may remember this, Ruairi, when he was at AC Milan, and Allegri was smiling. I made him notice that, and he told me that I had been shit on the pitch. Well, I looked at him and I told him, "You are shit." Wow, man!
Zing! What a comeback!
Do you know that Office episode where Michael just reads like he organizes a roast and he cannot stand what people say against him, and then he comes back with all these pieces of paper and he's just like, boom, roasted, and it's just the most offensive and ugly and low-minded shit you could say. And finally, and this is where the fun gets goes overboard. I don't go to dinner with the rest of the team. I don't want to embarrass them. I am a leader. They would feel inferior. I do this as a sacrifice for them.
It's definitely not that they don't invite him and they have a separate WhatsApp group, right? It's definitely not that. It's just called Milan minus Zlatan or minus Knobhead.
But he just like every night he texts people, nobody texts him, and he texts in the group chat, and he's just like, guys, in case you're organizing a dinner, just so you know, I'm not coming. People are like, oh shit, man, we're so like, can't imagine old Magnan and Kjaer just like, oh shit, man, this is a real bummer. But the next thing that we need to talk about before we talk about actual football is Juventus. We promised that we would go more in depth this weekend, with the Friday episode, and I'm going to try and shine a better light on what has happened with Juventus. So, in Italy, we're talking about plusvalenze. Plusvalenze, as Ruairi has taught me in English, is
capital gains.
So what are capital gains? You guys probably will be like, well, we know that. But since I didn't know this,
I still don't. I'm still not 100% sure.
So capital gains are actually the net profit that your club makes every single year. Your club can make net profit in a multitude of ways. This is through attendance at the stadium, so the tickets you sell for every game. This is through merchandising. This is through, meaning also the players' jerseys and so on. All the marketing that you have around your team, but also thanks to the purchase and the sale of players. Now, the Guardia di Finanza in Italy we've got a lot of different, when you talk about law enforcement in Italy, I don't know if you've ever realized it, Rory, but it's actually more complicated than in most countries. There is the Polizia di Stato, Polizia Locale. Then we've got the Carabinieri, which are a member, they are a part of the army, but they have...
It's like military police, isn't it?
It's like military police, but they still break your balls about anything on the street. And then the most terrifying, the sharks, Guardia di Finanza. Guardia di Finanza take care of everything that involves finance, bookkeeping, not paying your taxes, and so on. Now, this investigation is led by Consob. Consob is the Italian authority that makes sure that trade and business are working the proper way. And when they looked at Juventus's business over the past 10 years, they were like, things are not okay. Now, what is the problem? The problem is that Juventus have been involved in I will say this right away. Juventus are not the only club that is being investigated. I was just about to
jump in and say we do need to say there are other clubs.
I will say it before any Juventus fan starts fuming from their ears. No, Juventus are not the only club involved. However, the capital gains that Juventus have made over the 10 years far surpass the capital gains, the capital gains of any other team. The other big problem is that Juventus, alongside Roma and Lazio, are listed in the stock market. So if you declare that your capital gains are higher than they actually are, you're pretty much tricking people into buying your stocks. Now, I hope I explained this well, because Rory and I, well, you should read our WhatsApp conversations at the end of the month to understand how bad we are at managing our finances, imagine just understanding finance. But so, what is the big deal? The big deal is that Juventus recorded all these capital gains with a few big names, namely through the Pjanic-Arthur trade, but especially through players that if I read you the names, you probably would be like, I've never heard this guy. Why does he cost 10 million euros? Now, before we go in detail, what are Juventus risking? And then I will break down a few of these operations. It's a lot. I've read a few articles, and each article says it all depends on the judge, because here there could be multiple breaches and they could be interpreted at different levels. So the most likely thing is that Juventus would get a penalty if they are found guilty, like we all are hoping. They would probably get a penalty. But if they are found guilty of this thing that says, quote unquote, the club participated in a league despite not being allowed by the rules to play in it, at that point, they would be relegated to Serie B or lower, hopefully. So what does this mean? That if the judge thinks by looking at everything there is, he feels like this club has done so much bullshit that had it been found guilty beforehand, it wouldn't have taken part in the league. At that point, they could even be relegated. But now, the Pjanic-Arthur thing. So Pjanic went from Roma to Juventus in 2016. And it cost around, I believe, 30 million euros. Then there was a trade between Barcelona and Juventus. And Juventus said that the price of Pjanic at the time was 60 million euros. Okay. Now, this is another difficult thing to understand in all this case. Who decides the price of players and who says if the price is objective or not? All I know is that when Pjanic went from Rome to Juventus, he was a world-class player. And he was listed at 30 million euros. When he left Juventus, he definitely wasn't the same player. And if anything, his value had actually decreased. However, Juventus listed his value at 60 million euros. Barcelona were listing Arthur's value at 70 million euros. So Juventus said, okay, we'll do this trade and we'll give you 10 million cash. Now, all that extra money, let's go back to when Juventus purchased Pjanic. I'm simplifying it a little bit because then there is also the money that Pjanic gets every year, the money that Arthur gets every year, etc., etc. But what does this mean? It means that Juventus got Pjanic for 30 million. They sold him for 60, and they're going to write down in their books that they made a gain of 30 million euros. Now, that money does not exist really. But the thing that is all the scarier is the following, is the Rovella trade. Now, Rovella is one of those players that I talked about. Do you remember when we had the episode about the talented Italian and English players in the Premier League? Rovella was one of them. Rovella is a midfielder at Genoa, and he's a very good midfielder. But now, the thing is this one. He's a youngster. He was born in 2001. And all the trade happened in a very, very strange way. Now, what happened is the following. Let me just open the article. So, in 2021, Juventus were ready to take Nicolò Rovella. His contract at Genoa, probably then tell me if I make sense or not, his contract at Genoa was expiring in June. Now, Juventus, they have definitely more money than Genoa, and the player definitely wants to go to Juventus, so they can wait until June to get the player at zero money, because the player... However, something very strange happens in January 2021, which means that the moment his contract is about to expire, he signs an extension with Genoa. But Juventus don't back up. At that point, there are some clauses in Rovella's contract that say that once he signs a new contract, he's going to be sold at 18 million euros. Okay, 18 million euros. Now, right. Juventus say, we want to get your player, and for your player, we are going to give you another 2 players. Now, who are these 2 players? Guys, Rory and I are not the best about knowing kind of not well-known players, but I'm sure that you may have heard about Portanova. but you definitely haven't heard about Petrelli. Now, Portanova was given to Genoa, and this price was listed at 10 million euros, while Petrelli was given to Genoa, and this price was listed at 8 million euros. Now, Juventus are making capital gains already from these two prices because these two players grew up in their youth system. So they're making almost 100% of profit with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they're putting it in the Rovella deal that is listed at 18 million. Now, Portanova, it's ridiculous because Portanova played 4 times for Genoa, but coming from the bench, and he played like the dying minutes of the games.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 last year and 1 the year before. But for what concerns Petrelli, Genoa never played him. He was given to Serie B side Regina, where he played a total of 12 minutes. This player was listed, I repeat, at 8 million. Now, they played this game when they lost 4-0 against Frosinone, and it means that if we consider that his price is 8 million euros, each minute that he played with Regina cost 666,000 euros.
That's a nice number. That's a nice
number. So you see that here, I besides explaining what I can understand about it, I don't know what else I could say. But if you don't see like there is something, it's really playing with those fine lines of bureaucracy, with those what do you call them? Those gray areas of bureaucracy. You're fucking with those hard. And the money that Juventus have made this way over 10 years accounts to almost 700 million euros. It's a shit ton of money. And so I think it's good that they are investigating about this. And I think it's good that any club that does this type of shit, he undergoes the correct measures that are set forward, that are put forward by the judicial system. However, Juventus still are the team that has done it the most. We are going. Was it clear? Did it make sense?
Yeah, no, it was. It was really good, really good. But I think we need to highlight the fact that Napoli, the Osimhen deal is in question.
Yeah.
And Sampdoria have also been involved. Is it Milan for a few? And I want to say Fiorentina, maybe Roma, I think, has one. So there are a few other clubs, but Juventus, as always, are the biggest culprits.
Look, I just want to say one thing about Inter Milan. I think that Inter Milan know very well that when the Calciopoli scandal happened, they got away with something. And I think
wasn't Wind your owner's company?
Yeah.
Tim, sorry.
Well, by the way, I have discovered they were wondering this in the Totally Football show back in the day when I was listening to one episode about Calciopoli, I believe. Do you know why in Italy it's so easy to get access to phone tabs?
No, why?
Because of the mafia, man. So it was getting to a point where it was so hard to catch the mafia bosses that they were just like the government was just like, we need to come up with a way, and they made a law which is just like you can tap anybody's phone and you can get the tabs of anybody's conversations. Yes, man. I've been told this by a lot of people in the law. I've been told this by a lot of people in the law enforcement system. The day that you get in trouble with something big, all of your conversations are just going to be printed on paper, and it's going to be embarrassing. But
well, talking of phone taps, they've tapped Juventus and found out that there's been illegal payments to Ronaldo, right? They've been paying him privately as well. So this is all going to be like, it's just more being piled on.
And look, this is the club that also organized the fake exam of Italian to give Mr. Luis Suarez an Italian passport. Like, guys, don't forget about these guys. By the way, I was just going to wrap up the thing about Inter. I think that Inter are well aware that with Calciopoli, they kind of got away with it. But I think that since then, they were just like, this shit can happen. And if it happens, you're screwed. And I think that, I don't know, just knowing the club a bit, I think that Inter's books are pretty solid, pretty clean.
We will see. We will see,
exactly.
But Tommy, you should really tell us, obviously I try and read the newspapers. It takes me a lot longer than you, right? But what's kind of been the media reaction, and what are people saying about this and about this scandal?
Well, Napoli and Inter fans are there getting ready to celebrate for the 4 titles that are being discussed. In general, it's a lot of Juventus. There was this man His name is Marocchini. I don't really know. He worked for Juventus for a long time, and he was on a radio show. And there was this guy that was pretty much had the same talk that I just had, but he explained everything much better because he works in the field, actually. And this guy was explaining everything. And the first thing, I swear to God, the first thing he said is, before I start and some Juventus fans get wound up, Juventus are not the only club doing this, and it's an overall investigation. That guy, Marocchini, it's as if he hadn't heard this. And at that point, he was cutting him off. He was just like, okay, I understand what you say, but the first thing you should say is that Juventus. And the guy was like, that's literally the first thing I said, because they knew. And this guy was just like, no, but you're doing it on purpose. Right now, you're going on and on and on about Juventus. And this guy was like, yes, but Juventus have done it more. And this guy lost his mind and was like, what are we, kids at a playground? Like, he started it, he's doing it more, it's about everybody who does it. And he's like, yes. And whenever kids do something bad, you have to find the one who's also doing the worst shit of them all to like kind of make an example of him. And I was like, ooh. But so the Juventus fans, I think they are too worried about the football to also worry about this, I think, despite an incredible win at Salernitana, which we'll talk about, which was highly praised by media in Italy. But I think that deep down, they're a little bit worried. And overall, man, when it's something against Juventus, all of Italy jumps on board.
Yeah. Well, nobody likes him, right? Nobody likes him.
But all right, let's talk about actual football after this leeway that took us through the Ballon d'Or, Ibrahimovic's antics, and Juventus stealing as always. Talking about actual football, Juventus, they were praised with an incredible 2-0 win at Salernitana. There was an article on Corriere della Sera saying how Allegri turned Juventus around.
Oh, wow. Good work, Massimo.
Holy shit. So Salernitana, you might be wondering, yes, it's them. They are the side that has won as many as 2 games this season and lost 11, conceding 31 goals. Juventus won 2-0 with a great game, I have to say, by Paulo Dybala. But thank God, because he is against me in fantasy football. He scored a goal, but also missed a penalty. I have to say that Dybala was looking extremely lively. The other goal was a beautiful, very unusual type of touch from Alvaro Morata. I don't know if you got to see that goal. He kind of caressed the ball into the net with the outside of his boot.
It was a beautiful finish. It was a beautiful finish, yeah.
It was a beautiful finish. Fiorentina won 3-1 against the Sampdoria. They initially went down 1-0 with a goal by Gabbiadini, his first goal in Serie A this season. Always nice to see. He's already 30 years old, Gabbiadini, man. I think he's one of those players that could have had a better career, but
he was the one who was at Southampton for a bit, right? He had a really bright start at Southampton, then disappeared completely.
He even scored in the final against Manchester City, I believe.
Yes, I think he did. Yeah. That's a great show.
Guy with a very interesting career, definitely. Unfortunately, Callejon made it 1-1. Fiorentina were playing some beautiful football with a goal at the 23rd minute, and it took Vlahovic only 9 minutes more to make it 2-1, and eventually Sottil at the 45th minute made it 3-1, and that was the final result.
I saw that made Vlahovic the first ever Fiorentina striker to get 29 goals in a calendar year, I think.
Yeah, his numbers are just going up, up, up. Remember, I said that in my opinion, he would be Serie A's top goal scorer. But the really impressive game, ladies and gentlemen, is Atalanta-Venezia. If their scoreline isn't that impressive because you were used to seeing this type of numbers for the Bergamaschi, 4-0, well, we have to talk about the fact that one player scored 3 of the goals, and it's the second time he does it during his career at Atalanta. We're talking about Mario Pasalic, who had a brace within 5 minutes in the first half, scored the 4-0 because Cop Miners had made it 3-0 for the Nerazzurri. Now, I sent Ruairi a stat that I found online that is absolutely ridiculous. This stat talks about hat-tricks in Serie A under Gasperini. So the majority, 5 out of 9 of these hat-tricks were all at Atalanta, 3 at Genoa and 1 at Palermo. The one at Palermo was from Fabrizio Miccoli. The one at Genoa was from Suso. We're talking about hat tricks, ladies and gentlemen. Then, At Atalanta, Papu Gomez, 1 hat-trick, Luis Muriel, 1 hat-trick. Back at Genoa, both Milito and Borriello, 2 hat-tricks. And then at Atalanta, Mario Pasalic, 2, Duvan Zapata, 3. That means, I was putting it in numbers, that's 9 goals in 3 games. And then Ilicic, 4 hat-tricks. Now, Atalanta he's just renewed his contract, by the way. Gasperini, he's the man that has made a name for this team after years of floating mid-table, sort of. And man, it's just very exciting football. Luis Muriel assisting twice for my fantasy football team. It's just a team that on their day, they are exactly like Liverpool, in my opinion. They're death by 1,000 cuts, like our friend Ruairi loves to put it.
Yeah, well, we need to talk about the season Pasalic is having as well. My God, he's all of a sudden, he's just banging him in for fun.
He's been involved in 12 goals in 15 games, assists and goals. Yeah.
And this is what happens with Juventus every year. A player kind of comes out and explodes, and you're like, oh, that's the new one. That's the new one. Kurt Miner's got his first goal for the club, right? And it's another player that's kind of exploding there. And yeah, I think you're right. They're very, very similar to Liverpool. It's kind of like they really do batter you, but they just have less days than Liverpool. I think they've just not quite got that consistency, right? But I am enjoying Pasalic. I'm not enjoying that he did score against me in fantasy.
Don't forget that Atalanta are taking on a big Serie A side this weekend. We're going to get there. In other news, Bologna defeat Roma 1-0 at home. Tammy Abraham picks a yellow card, which means he will miss the game against Inter Milan.
Oh, my God.
Mourinho is already talking about having to invent a team for the game against Inter Milan. But look, Roma, they attacked, but they were not clinical in front of goal. Tammy Abraham missed an absolute sitter of a header in front of goal.
Shomorodov missed a sitter as well.
Man, yes, Shomorodov missed a big one. Look, Roma are just a roller coaster type of team. You don't know what. I think betting on Roma is impossible.
Don't do it. Here. Do not do it under any circumstances.
Like, I'm just looking, like the game they won against Torino before this game, they could have lost it, but they won 1-0. The game against the Zoria in the Europa League, of course you would say that they win it, and they did win it 4-0, but had they lost 1-0, would have you been surprised? They are a team without an identity, really. What do you think is the problem there? Only the manager?
No. I think actually the squad needs a lot of improvement. They've got some good ingredients there, but it just needs filling out a little bit. They're kind of one of their better players is a very old Mkhitaryan. They've got players like Karsdorp, who you never know what's going to happen when he's on the pitch. When someone's out, someone like Mayoral has to come in, and you're like, I forgot that guy existed. Like, it just feels like they just need a few more recruits to kind of bolster that squad. I think Mourinho, it seems to me that he's kind of treating it like a project, and Roma are going to give him the time that he needs, or at least they're going to be patient with him. I think it's going to be an interesting one. If Mourinho actually gets to buy kind of a few transfer windows and kind of morph and mold the team, it could be interesting. But I think at the moment they're just close to being good, but just not quite there. They've just got a few players that are just...
They don't have much of an identity.
Days.
You see them play, and they have some players with very high technical skills. But besides the individuals, it doesn't really feel like a team. They haven't much of an identity. I watched parts of the game last night. I was screening at some point last night. AC Milan win 3-0 at Sheva's home. The start for the Ukrainian manager at Genoa is not going great after a draw against Udinese and the 3-0 win against Milan. But look, it was expectable. Junior Messias, after scoring his first ever Champions League goal, he scores a brace in his first ever Serie A start for AC Milan. The first goal was, of course, by Zlatan, immortal Ibrahimovic, with a beautiful free kick. However, Salvatore Sirigu did not place the wall that well, in my and a lot of other people's opinion. Ibrahimovic, 9 games this year, 6 goals and 1 assist.
It is incredible, really.
He is incredible, but this doesn't take it away from the fact that he's an asshole. Messias with 2 very nice goals. I really like the first header. I kind of cautioned it on the faraway post. And what a beautiful game also by Brahim Diaz. I really like this player, and I think
he's
that
a great player.
I
Yeah.
think he's really the link between AC Milan's midfield and attack. He's very elegant on the ball. He's got a little trick in him, and AC Milan played an overall very convincing game. Now, let's talk about Sassuolo Napoli, because Napoli dropped points. And it means that the Sassuolo bag 4 out of 6 points in back-to-back games against table leaders AC Milan and Napoli. What a week for Dionisi's team. However, I have to say that this game, despite being very closely contested, when Napoli started scoring, I said, now it's over. It took Mertens a beautiful effort, man. Mertens literally needs 5 square centimeters, and then he just does all the rest. Beautiful goal by Mertens after nobody could break the deadlock in the first half. The first goal was actually by Fabian. Then Mertens made it 2-0. And then at that point, I thought that the goals would come in raining. Lozano was having a very good team, but Spalletti made a few subs that I wasn't really expecting towards the end of the game. He took out Fabian when they were leading 2-0. He took out Mertens, and he brought in Politano and Petagna. Politano is coming back from 2 weeks not playing after coronavirus. I understand that he needed the minutes, but this game...
It's an important game. It's not an easy game, right?
Yeah, it's an important game. And right after that, Gianluca Scamacca. What a goal, man. He put it down with his chest and just hammered it past Ospina, who is having a very, very good game. And at that point, Spalletti gets a little scared, takes out Lozano and brings on a defensive midfielder like Diego Demme. Then Koulibaly gets injured. Oh my God, Koulibaly is going to be out for some time. Politano picks a yellow card. Diego Demme picks a yellow card. And as sure as you know it, at the 89th minute, Gianmarco Ferrari makes it 2-2. Luciano Spalletti gets a red card. Sassuolo scored the 3-2, but no, there is a foul on the build-up to the play, and the game ends in a draw, which means that since Inter won, and we're going to get to that, Napoli are currently first at 36, AC Milan second on 35, and Inter third on 34. Now, Napoli, they've got quite a few injuries to take care of. I'm reading them right now. Lorenzo Insigne, Fabian Ruiz, Kalidou Koulibaly, Victor Osimhen, and Zambo Anguissa.
Jesus.
All these players are going to be out at the weekend when Napoli take on Atalanta at home. But wait a second, because before we get there, look, Roy, I sent you a voice message last night. I will make it very quick, but am I loving this Inter team? 2-0 win against Spezia. Very comfortable win. 14 shots on target. Samir Handanovic even managed to dive with an absolute reflex of a big cat to save the clean sheet, also for my fantasy football deeds. Very good. But look, man, about Inzaghi, I just want to say something. At the moment, the Inter job for a manager, for an Italian manager, with the experience of Inzaghi, I think there was no better job that he could possibly aim for than Inter Milan. Now, he got that job, but when he got there, things started shaking already. Lukaku goes away. I think they met for one training only. Hakimi had already left. The club was very quick to act on the market, bring in Dumfries, Dzeko, which has turned out to be an incredibly positive signing. However, the job is not done. You need to preserve what Spalletti and after Conte have created and try to give an environment, the environment of the club that is not feeling as confident as maybe last year, the feeling that everything is going fine. Now, this man doesn't seem to feel pressure that much, in my opinion. And even after the first not very convincing results, a loss and a draw in the Champions League, he never really lost it. He's never gone against a referee. What? We are in Italy. When we lost the game against Lazio, I don't know if you remember, there were big protests from the Inter players because the goal was scored when a player was down. When they asked Inzaghi, of course, the journalists always want to get the spicy stuff. And they asked him twice because he wouldn't answer the question. What do you think of the referee's decision? He said, look, a decision is a decision, but I think that if we lost the game, it's simply because we had a lack of concentration. And if you're concentrated, you can recover even from one player down and organize defensively. The guy asked him again, and then he was just like, "Look, I don't want to talk about referees. I'm the manager of Inter Milan, and this club doesn't talk about referees that much." Wow. And then
Nice.
I've never heard him say anything bad against like about like fixture congestion. That is something that Sarri talks about every single day. He's never complained about a player. He's never complained about the club. We this season, get at me, but I don't recall Inter Milan ever looking dominated by another team. It's all looking pretty. Even when we lost against Real Madrid, we dominated the game, and then in the end lost 1-0. When we lost against Lazio, we were winning, then had a major lapse in concentration, and ended up losing. But the majority of the game was in our hands. This man is doing incredibly well. He's very modest. It feels like at Inter there is a great environment between the players. Sanchez yesterday, apparently he jumped off the bench when they told me he was going to come in, and he said something like "Vamos," walked in, and he was super happy to take part in the game. Joaquin Correa, he hasn't gotten the minutes that he probably was getting at Lazio last year, but still yesterday, yet another very good performance, even hit the crossbar. It finally seems like we've solved the penalty issue. Lautaro Martinez has taken penalties in the last 2 games. Look, things are looking nice, and I think that right now, since there is nothing more to talk about except the fact that Torino and Empoli have ended up drawing 2-2. And tonight,
Torino just cannot get a win.
Torino cannot get a win. I mean, they do get a win. They're start and stop. It's a loss, win, loss, win, loss. They cannot get 2 consecutive.
Okay, there's no consistency.
There's no consistency at all. But I think it's finally time. Well, tonight there is Lazio Udinese. You will know the score by the time you're listening to this. But it's time to preview the weekend very quickly. And ladies and gentlemen, Saturday is the day that you want to make sure you've got a lot of beer in your fridge, or you've got some friends to go to the pub with, because it all kicks off at 3 p.m. with Milan, who take on Salernitana. At 6 p.m., Roma, without Tammy Abraham, take on Inter. Mourinho faces Inter for the first time since he left 11 years ago. And then at 8:45, we've got Napoli-Atalanta. This is going to be a very important weekend for the top of the league. And on Sunday, we've got at 12:30, Bologna-Fiorentina, Spezia-Sassuolo, Venezia-Hellas Verona, and Sampdoria-Lazio. And then at 8:45, we've got Juventus-Genoa. So maybe they can talk business, right? About Rovella, Portanova, Petrelli, and all that. And then it all wraps up on Monday night. But we'll be talking to you then with our Euroreview Mondays with Empoli, Udinese, and Cagliari-Torino. Rory, take us through the Premier League.
The Premier League this weekend, it all starts on Saturday at 1:30 with the biggest game of the weekend, I think, quite easily. We have West Ham taking on Chelsea. We've seen that midweek Chelsea managed to scrape a win against Watford, but if they put in a similar performance, West Ham are probably going to cause them bigger problems than Watford can. That is on Saturday at 12:30 in the UK. Then the 3 o'clock kickoffs, we have now Newcastle. They couldn't beat Norwich at home. This is their second game before their ridiculous run starts where they have to play United, City, Liverpool. They are playing Burnley at home on Saturday at 3 o'clock. Again, I'm going to say it. They need to bloody win this game. Spoiler alert, I don't think they will. Again, on Saturday at 3 o'clock, we have Wolves taking on Liverpool. Diogo Jota going back to his old club in fantastic form. Wolves having a kind of under the radar decent season, but the odds are Liverpool will probably score 4 again this game. Then we have Southampton versus Brighton again on Saturday at 3 o'clock. Cheeky little South Coast derby. Can Brighton get a win? We need Brighton to break this drawing run. Southampton, as I said, having a disappointing season, so Brighton will be looking to take advantage there. Then the late game on Saturday, we have on Saturday at 5:30, Watford taking on Manchester City. Now, Watford routinely get absolutely slapped by Man City. It is never close. It's usually 6-5. I think there's been a 7. They usually get slapped. So I think Watford are not going to feel confident going into this one. Excuse me. But City will be. Then on Sunday, we have Leeds versus Brentford. Leeds getting into their better form. Brentford kind of stumbling a little bit. So Leeds will be looking to add 3 more points on the board for them. That is on Sunday at 2 o'clock. Again, on Sunday at 2 o'clock, we have Manchester United taking on Crystal Palace. Hopefully, fresh off a humiliating defeat at the hands of Arsenal, they will be handed another humiliating defeat by Patrick Vieira in the dugout as the Eagles visit Old Trafford. Of course, Crystal Palace have won at Old Trafford recently and have a fairly decent record against United, so that'll be a decent game to keep an eye on. Then again on Sunday at 2:00, we have Tottenham taking on Norwich City in a game that Tottenham should probably win quite comfortably. But Norwich under Dean Smith have been improved, have looked better, so maybe they'll cause a problem or two for Spurs. Then the late games on Sunday, 4:30 kickoff, we have Aston Villa versus Leicester in a Midlands derby. Aston Villa, Steven Gerrard turning the boat around a little bit. Leicester starting to turn it around, still having a pretty disappointing season. So two teams that will this win, for whichever team wins this, if they do, it could be a big morale boost and a big push up the table. And then the final game of the weekend, we have Arsenal visiting Goodison Park and Rafa Benitez. Hopefully fresh off a morale-boosting win at Old Trafford, we can put the nail in Benitez's coffin and get 3 points at Goodison Park.
Sorry, I forgot to say something very big. Napoli are leading and Koulibaly is out alongside 5 other players, but Milan are second. And the Simon Kjaer is out, probably for the rest of the season. Yes, baby. These are the news.
Oh, come on, Simon. Look, we offer you our best wishes.
That was the Inter Milan fan talking in me, but good. Okay, so yeah, Simon, we wish you the best of recoveries and everything, but at the same time, tight. It's looking fragile up there at the top.
It looks like Romagnoli is going to get some more minutes putting his face on the ground.
Face on the ground, the red card goal. He's got to do it all. But Rory, it's about time we jump to our brand new quiz. Are you excited?
I am pretty excited. I'm very bloody excited, and you should be, listeners.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a brand new quiz. It will be up to you to let us know what you think about it, but I'm gonna explain it all on the flip side.
And, well, we said that the quiz was going to be gone for a while, but we've had a moment of inspiration, or more importantly, Tommy has had a moment of inspiration, and we've decided to go for a big quiz this week. Now, he's tried to explain it to me 3 or 4 times. I think I get it, but I'm going to let Tommy explain it properly, as I think it's from an Italian TV show, right?
Correct. This TV show was a hit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Anglo-Italian Pod's very own Passaparola moment. Da-da! So what is Passaparola? Passaparola in Italian means word of mouth, but it also means pass the word. This was a very famous, it was the final part of a very famous quiz on Italian television. I would want to say at the end of the 90s, early 2000s. How does this work? It's very easy. There are 2 people sitting down at a chair with headphones on, fully concentrated. And back in the day, you would see a circle of letters around them, all the alphabet going from A to Z. These 2 people would have 80 seconds each to answer as many questions as possible in alphabetical order. Now, the host, the anchor, would read the definition. If the person could guess it with the letter, it's in alphabetical order, he would try and guess it. If it was wrong, he could not go back to it, and the floor would go to the other person. If it was right, the game would continue immediately with the next question. So if it was A, then B, and then C, and then D. And if the person didn't know the answer, he would just say, Passaparola. At that point, the floor goes to the other person. Mm-hmm. Rory and I decided to have 120 seconds to try and make it a little easier on us instead of only 80, which is 1 minute 20. We thought it was a little too little. In this game, the original version, of course, questions were about everything and anything. But as you know, ours are only going to be about football, but no specific topic about football in general. Rory, how was it preparing it for you?
It was good fun. Honestly, from when you sent me the WhatsApp voice note, I was teaching. And then at that point, the whole day, I was just thinking of letters at random points and being like, oh, that can be a question for that letter. Oh, E, that's a good one. Oh, H, that's a good one. And kind of writing them down in my notes. It was good fun. It was kind of like, it kept me entertained during the day. Let's say that. It's been a slow day. Not a slow day, a boring
Now,
day.
what's the important thing about this game, Rory, unlike we did with the 1 minute to play off where there was also a time limit, in this game, if you don't know the answer, you'd rather pass as quick as you can rather than wait there, because otherwise the time is going to expire. So Rory and I are ready. We both have a timer with which we're going to time the other person's time. Who wants to start? How are we going to do this? Should we do a virtual rock, paper, scissors?
Let's do it. Even it's a great audio feature, but
Great
one,
audio
two,
feature.
three, then go. Right, 1, 2, 3,
All right.
go.
1, 2, 3, go. Oh, scissors, the both of us. It's getting intense.
Guys, the tension. Again. Right.
1,
2, 3,
go. Oh,
yeah.
No. Rory's scissor is shredding my paper. All right, Rory, you've got the timer in front of you.
Do I get to choose if I go first, or can I make you go first?
Oh, no, yeah, I think I'm going first. So
okay, cool. Right,
sure,
yeah, let's do it.
Make sure
I've got
you've
it in
got
front
the
of me.
questions in front of you. After you read the definition, please also remind me the letter. And remember to pause the timer whenever I'm wrong or I say Passaparola. But before we start, Rory, I believe we should bring on our theme sound.
So, Mr. Adami, when you are ready, we will start in 3, 2, 1. The stadium where Maradona scored the hand of God.
Avellaneda.
No, wrong answer.
What was the correct answer?
It was the Azteca.
Oh, Azteca. Correct. All right, I got the first answer wrong. Mr. Rory, if you're ready, we are going to start your quiz in 3, 2, 1. Former Inter defender, now part of Bobo TV. A.
Passaparola.
All right, Passaparola for Rory. Now it goes back to me, sir.
So we start again. B. Premier League record appearance maker.
Pass. Passaparola. Fuck. This is tough, man.
It's difficult. It is difficult.
This is tough. The time is going to run out eventually. Okay, Mr. Rory Quisquolo, after you Passaparola, we take back from the B. Ready, set, go. Franco, historical AC Milan captain.
Baresi.
Correct. C. Rogerio, record-breaking Brazilian goalkeeper.
Seri.
Wrong.
Seni. Damn it.
The wrong answer is Seni, not the Seri. You were almost there. Record-breaking because it's the goalkeeper who scored most goals ever in the history of football. One letter. We don't slip on anything in this game. Whenever you're ready, Rory, I'm ready to start again.
Okay, starting again. C. Luigi Riva fired this club to a Scudetto.
Cagliari.
D. Wayne Rooney currently manages
Derby County.
E. Hearts of Midlothian and Hibernian are both in which British city?
Edinburgh.
F. Angry fans threw a pig's head at
Figo, Luis.
Won the Euros in 2004.
Germany.
No.
What am I talking about? Of course not. It's not Germany. What did you just say?
Greece.
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 Damn it. Greece. Damn it. Well, I got 4 correct answers in a row. I'm pretty excited.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. So we're ready to start again, Mr. Criscuolo, from letter D. Shall I start?
Go.
Ready, set, go. Porto's home ground. D.
Dragao.
Correct. Macedonian midfielder at Napoli. E.
Passaparola.
All right. So we get 1 point and a pass. So far, you've passed the letters A and D, and you still have 1 minute 29 left. Could you tell me how much time left I have as well?
You have 1 minute 28.
All right.
Okay, tell me when we're ready.
From H,
we are picking up at H, right?
All right.
So, H, famously beat England 6-3 and 7-1?
Passaparola. I think I know what it is. Okay, Mr. Criscuolo, we pick it up again from F. Ready, set, go. Rotterdam-based club with one
Feyenoord.
European Cup. Correct. G. German midfielder at Manchester City.
Gundogan.
Correct. H. Italian, only one to ever be goal scorer in Serie A, B, and C.
Passaparola.
All right, nice. It's with an H. Pretty strange one, but you know it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know it. I just wasn't coming to me. Right, we are on the letter I. Tommy, are you ready?
I am ready.
The name that the unbeaten Arsenal team are given.
Invincibles.
J. Kaiser Chiefs and Orlando Pirates play in which city?
Passaparola. God, that was a waste of time. It was with the letter J, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. It's time for you to pick it up again from letter I. Ready, set, go. World Cup winning forward with Italy in 2006.
Quinta.
Correct. J. The club from Castellammare.
Juventud.
Wrong. Stop the timer. It's Juventus Stabia.
God damn it.
Juve Stabia, actually. Juve Stabia.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. I'm ready to start again, bud. From which letter?
Okay, starting at K. K. Team in Germany that won the Bundesliga straight after promotion in 97.
Passaparola. Damn it. All right, Mr. Criscuolo, we pick it up again from K. 3, 2, 1. Former Dutch defender with 88 goals for Barcelona. K.
Koeman.
Correct. L. The Germany goalkeeper at the 2006 World Cup.
Lehmann.
Correct. M. Scudetto winning striker at Roma.
Montella.
Correct. N. Roma's current kit supplier.
Passaparola. Damn it.
All right, man.
Damn it.
You got K, L, M in a row. Very good. All right.
Okay, you have 1 minute, 6 seconds left, and we are at L, Tommy.
All right.
So 3, 2, 1. Chelsea's all-time top goal scorer.
Lampard.
Good. M. Shakhtar, Dortmund, United, Arsenal. Which player is this?
Passaparola. Damn it. All right, Mr. Criscuolo, we are at only 33 seconds.
No,
Wow.
what?
Yeah.
You've got 56 seconds left. My
I
God,
don't know.
right.
I don't know. You went on a longer run, I think. Wow. Time is really, tight, we could say.
Oh, God, right.
Okay, we pick it up again from letter O. Okay, this is a funny definition. It's a little long, so we'll make the timer start after I read you the definition.
Right.
It's the first time we play anyways. All right, letter O. Johnny Depp looking forward at Inter and Roma, now a singer.
Oscar, no, Passaparola.
All right,
he played for Southampton as well. Anyway.
All right.
Okay, you are on N, starting with N. Complete the famous name, Edson Arantes do
Nascimento.
Good. O, Greek team with the most titles.
Olympiacos.
Good. P, who has managed Roma, Fiorentina, Italy, Galatasaray, and Valencia?
Prandelli.
Good. Player who can only score with the outside of his foot.
Quaresma.
Oh, European Cup winners in 1991.
Passaparola. All right.
27 seconds left, Tommy.
Oh, 28 for you, Mr.
Oh
Criscuolo.
my God, this is close. I thought
exciting.
Oh my God, right.
Okay, Mr. Criscuolo, 28 seconds left. We pick it up again from letter S. How are you feeling?
Tense.
All right. We start again from letter P for Mr. Criscuolo. Ready, set, go. Gonzalo Higuain's nickname.
Passaparola. Damn it.
All right. We go to letter S for me. I'm ready.
Okay, Tommy, you're at S in 3, 2, 1. The oldest football club in the world is in which English city?
Passaparola. Okay, Mr. Chris Cuolo. 23 seconds left. I'm ready to go with letter Q. 3, 2, 1. Former Portuguese forward known for La Trivela.
Quaresma.
Correct. R. Marco, Dortmund's number 11.
Van Persie. No. Oh,
Wrong. What?
I don't know. Completely mind blanked. Completely
All right,
mind blanked.
there are only 10 seconds left, Mr. Chris Cuolo. I'm ready to go. I'm picking it up from letter
21
T.
seconds at T in 3, 2, 1. The name of the Burnley Stadium.
Pause. Passaparola.
Oof.
Whoa. What is it? All right. I'm ready to pick it up again for you with the letter S.
Yeah.
Former Swiss defender at Arsenal.
Senderos.
Uruguayan midfielder at Fiorentina. T.
Torreira.
Correct. And the time is up.
Ooh.
You can hear the beeper in the background. Rory Criscuolo gets 2 extra points. We are going to count everything at the end. Mr. Criscuolo, how much time do I have left?
You have 18 seconds and we are at you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Kurt, Haller, and Mertens all played for this Dutch team.
Utrecht.
Good. V, midfielder who won titles with both Arsenal and Inter.
Passaparola. Okay. I'm ready to continue.
Okay, you've got 4 seconds left, and we are at W.
All right.
In 3, 2, 1. Ex-Milan player who's now a national president.
Where?
Oh, that's the buzzer. I think you just got it in time. I'm going to be generous and give it you, right?
Yes. All right. Now, a moment of silence, ladies and gentlemen, as I count Rory's points and Rory counts mine. This is going to be a very exciting moment for you listeners.
I don't think I've won.
Mr. Rory Criscuolo is on 10 points. What's my result, Rory?
12, Tommy. Congratulations.
Oh, I win with 12 points. Thank you. It's a great excitement after being battered in the previous game. Rory, I know it's not really up to say, but it's not really up to us to say. But did you have fun? Did you like it?
I really enjoyed it. I get the feeling this might come back at some point.
Yeah, this might come back maybe with a little more time and maybe with only one person going. Or maybe we should do it during our live recordings on Monday nights.
Not a bad shout.
Maybe our beloved guests, can take part in the game as well. But Rory, let's go through the answers again, because there were some things that you missed out on, and I wanted to tell our listeners what they are. So with the letter A, former Inter defender, now part of Bobo TV. This is the guy who is always ready for a hot take. He's always ready to praise an Italian manager, and so on and so on. Long hair, feels like he's the philosopher of football. His name is Lele Adani.
Oof, okay. I was not getting that one.
Really?
Not getting that one. No.
I thought you knew him. Then letter E, Macedonian midfielder at Napoli. He's
Aysad? I can't remember how you say it.
Elmas.
No.
Elmas is the name. With the letter H, the Italian, only one to ever be goal scorer in Serie A, B, and C. It's Mr. Dario Hubner with an H. Of course it is. Then we've got letter N, Roma's current kit supplier, New Balance.
Yeah, the second I said Passaparola, it came to my head.
With the letter O, Johnny Depp looking forward at Inter and Roma, now a singer. Argentinian.
Osvaldo, damn it.
And finally, with the letter P, Gonzalo Higuain's nickname. Can it come to your mind? Pipita.
Oh, damn it. Right, okay.
You would have missed it for one letter. And Rory, I passed I don't know if you marked my passes or not.
I did. I marked the ones you got wrong in your passes. Should we go through all of them?
Yeah, let's go through the...
Okay, so as I said, the stadium that the Hand of God was scored at was, of course, the Azteca.
Mhm.
The Premier League record appearance maker is Gareth Barry. That was a difficult one. I apologize for that one.
Wow.
Then with G, who won the Euros in 2004? It is, of course, Greece. When I asked that one, I thought he's going to panic and say Germany.
Yeah, I did. That's exactly what I did.
With H, the team that famously beat England 6-3 and 7-1, Tommy?
Hungary.
It was Hungary, the mighty Magyars. Yeah.
Also, I just want to say probably the only European nation that starts with an H. Yeah.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head.
Holland.
Oh, yeah, Holland. Yeah. And Italy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. Very good.
Let's keep going.
The next one, J, the Kaiser Chiefs and Orlando Pirates play in which city? It's Johannesburg. That one was really difficult. Really
wow.
difficult.
When you said the Orlando Pirates, my mind went to Florida all of a sudden.
Yeah, again, a bit of a trick question.
Wow. Okay. No, but I like it.
In K, the team in Germany that won Bundesliga straight after promotion in 1997 was Kaiserslautern.
You know, I was going to say it, but then I was like, I'm going to say Kaiser and then panic. There was another name, but I don't know, guys.
Sounds a bit weird if you just shout Kaiser when you've heard German.
Yeah, I wanted to avoid that, exactly.
The next one you Passaparola was M. Shakhtar, Dortmund, United, and Arsenal. Whose career is it, Tommy?
Shakhtar, repeat, sorry.
Shakhtar, Dortmund, Manchester United, and Arsenal.
Mkhitaryan.
It is Mkhitaryan. Then R. The European Cup winners in 1991. It was Red Star Belgrade.
Ooh, vintage Coppa Campioni right there. I like it.
Exactly. S. The oldest football club in the world is in which English city? It's where Pete's from.
Wait. I don't know. Stoke? No, it's not Stoke. Is it? I have
Sheffield.
No idea. Sheffield. All right. Apologies. Sorry.
And the last one, T. The name of the Burnley Stadium. It is Turf Moor.
Turf Moor. I've heard this one before. But also letter V. I think I passed on V as well.
Oh, V. You did pass on V. Sorry. And that was midfielder who won titles with both Arsenal and Inter. Now managing Crystal Palace.
Oh, Patrick Vieira. Of course. Very good. Nice. So it was a lot of fun also to prepare the game. I think we can improve it. Listeners, you are the ones, you are our employers, basically. So if you like it, you just have to tell us. If you don't like it, you just have to tell us why and how we can improve it. And
just tell us in DMs. Don't put that publicly. Only put praise in the public. Only put praise in public.
Exactly. I believe it's time to wrap our episode up. We're ready for a weekend full of football. We're going to talk again next Monday. And who knows, maybe we'll have some news about this new quiz. And maybe we can bring it to the live on Twitch and YouTube as well. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Italian AngloPod, on Instagram at Anglo-Italian Pod. And since it's the holiday season, also give a follow to our beloved sponsor at Sports Club Maps. And now I believe it is time for my colleague, the loser of the Passaparola game, to send you off with our customary quote.
So after a eye-opening interview from the god, or the self-proclaimed god of Milan, Zlatan, one quote in particular stuck out. I advised Mbappe to leave PSG. He needs a more structured environment like at Real Madrid. But I also told the PSG president not to sell him. It was, of course, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and it looks like he's picking up lessons from Mino Raiola. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend. We will see you on Monday.